The only way to escape the crush was to get to safety through a turnstile, yet the closer one got to a turnstile, the greater the crush became. At one point, I was pushed up against a wall alongside the turnstile and had to brace myself. Everybody was doing the same thing, to hold off the weight of the crowd. With great relief, we got through the turnstiles and on the other side found whole lines of police apparently bewildered by what was happening. Everybody, it seemed, either berated them or pleaded with them to help outside. We then hurried to our seats at the far end of the north stand. It had all taken 17 rather frightening minutes. The game had already started, and police now opened the main exterior double gates. Thousands came pouring through into the main seating areas. At the same time, we now know these huge concertina gates were also opened to ease the crush here of people trying to get into the terraced area behind the goal. Have there been tests on people entering the ground, the numbers that are able to enter the ground?
No, no tests have been done, no.
But presumably you know figures of the numbers that can be accommodated in what time?
Yes, depending on whether it's a ticket game, depending on whether people are paying with money and waiting for change, you can estimate how many people get through per minute and hence how long it will take for the ground to be full.
Presumably, though, when there's a very big crowd in an all-ticket game, one needs policing outside to form orderly queues.
That's so.
So if there are no police outside to maintain orderly queues, there will be a problem.
Oh yes, it's a very important part of the organisation of the crowd that the police should be present at the turnstiles, both sides.
But we believe there weren't sufficient police to cope with the fans suddenly coming through the concertina gates, and it's then that the tragedy became unstoppable. Fans catching first sight of the pitch and the game underway raced for the gangway or tunnel, the one way onto the central terracing. No more than 10 feet wide and about 8 feet high, it became a death trap. The Home Secretary, the Minister for Sport and the Prime Minister all came and saw for themselves at midday today. They spent half an hour inspecting the terracing and piecing together the sequence of events. Mrs. Thatcher agreed that as the sole means of entrance and escape, the tunnel was crucial to what happened once the gates had been opened.
They hadn't a chance. When the gates were opened,
it was very difficult.
Obviously everyone wanted to get to them, and so
just as it was clearly very
could be
difficult
pressing on the front. When you've got a crowd like
realise
this,
what was actually
you get too many.
Now
It is
just beginning to get
almost everyone loses control because you're swept off your feet, and it really is one of much greater horror if that is possible.
As Home Secretary, Douglas Hurd is ultimately responsible for policing, but Peter Wright, the Chief Constable of South Yorkshire, will be a key figure in any inquiry. Today he was refusing all interviews until the investigations are complete. Two off-duty policemen from Merseyside, who I met inside the ground, said they couldn't believe the way police had been deployed here. There were plenty of them, 800. That's up to 4 times as many, I'm told, as would police a similar big game in Liverpool. But the way they were used, too few outside the ground where the crush happened, where the trouble all started, that's left these officers both baffled and angry. Today there's great sadness here in Sheffield, on Merseyside, and indeed across the country. But those most intimately involved, the bereaved, their friends and relatives, in their sorrow are also demanding why.